In this case, you have almost 70,000 people who hold XRP in the United States who are trying to sue the SEC for harming them.
Right.
So, it's a little confusing why the SEC would spend a lot of time and energy on that when we do actually have some things happening in the market that maybe do deserve more scrutiny.
One simple answer to that question that Brad Garlinghouse kind of put up there is money. We've seen for a very long time right now that the SEC has not been the best of actors when it comes to the approval from the general public. Here's, for example, one of the most recent press releases: SEC Enforcement Division to increase size of crypto assets and cyber unit, which also comes after this announcement. As a result, the regulatory burden has increased significantly on the crypto market, along with rising penalties. As per data by crypto analytics company Elliptic, US regulators have collected $3.35 billion in crypto enforcement actions since 2008. And again, right now they're working towards a couple of things. One is one crypto rulebook. The second is, I guess, just a rush of radical rulemakings. And some might actually come out and say they're going for some crazy bait and switch. Let's first put one thing central though. The whole Ripple situation, in our opinion, as crypto investors, is that if they really wanted to protect investors, this was not the best way to go about it. Because at the end of the day, they lost a lot of people money. Mostly people just lost money and they didn't really achieve much. Again, putting into perspective, it's also their biggest crypto lawsuit to date. And actually, if they do manage to win, it would basically be like a 50% increase in the entire money that they've ever earned in the last, let's say, 14 years here. Which is what makes it understandable as to why they're going for such a big lawsuit against Ripple, $1.3 billion. We can also see it in the light of the fact that they want to expand like crazy. It says here, according to SEC press release, since the formation in 2017, the unit has brought more than 80 enforcement actions in connection with fraudulent and unregistered crypto offerings, resulting in more than $2 billion in penalties and disgorgement, which once more would be added now by $1.3 billion, making this so logical. But they're also looking for another crazy funding, right? I think $2 billion, something of the sort, to continue on with more enforcements in the crypto space. And let's make one thing clear. As I said, let's take things central. I'm not against the SEC. Absolutely not. I honestly think they are good. From the perspective that they can prevent a lot of scams from happening. And if they do end up happening, I think they can actually make sure that there's some justification, right? So some sort of processes. For example, Harmony Networks Horizon Bridge hacked, $100 million stolen. Now, let's say this turned out to be a really big mistake on Harmony's part. It was all an inside job. They were just doing this to fraudulently act and steal money from the investors. The SEC could be there to honestly just help out, get some lawsuits going, and potentially protect investors. Or let's say some things are just really, really unsafe. I honestly expect the SEC to come on in and do the right job. It is only when they actually are not really helping people, and like Brad Garlinghouse said at the start, they're more so hurting the investors rather than helping them, that things get kind of unclear. Specifically, if we can understand the bias, and we can talk about the Ethereum situation right now, but let's not. Let's just talk about what No Name says right here. Regarding the Ripple lawsuit, what I think is the most important factor here is that they're not able to stop Ripple at all. Regardless of what the status is in the US, regardless of what the SEC concludes, Ripple's going to continue on forward. And so what the SEC at best can do is to stop Ripple from operating solely in the US, as they've gotten the approval from the majority of other countries around the world. They've opened out crazy office in Canada, they're doing good in the UAE, doing good in Japan and whatnot. So it will only be the US, which is what makes this so kind of strange and difficult. It's not as if they're stopping an ICO. It's not as if they're stopping a money raising or something of the sort. They're not really stopping anything except for US investors participating in anything of the sort. And from the services, which again are meant to help a lot of people, I'm not exactly sure how you can see Ripple as what they make as a quote unquote bad thing. They're helping a lot of people out with their solutions, but I digress. The CEO recently said as well, actually today, yesterday officially, at the Collision Conference in Toronto, quote, "If we lose our lawsuit with the US SEC, we will leave the United States entirely," end quote. And another quote, "If I lose the case, I will leave the United States entirely. It's not that we can do it, it's that we will do it." And I keep reminding people of this. Not really much will happen in terms of downside for Ripple/XRP. There'll mostly be upside if they do manage to win. But in terms of downside, I think it's going to be short-term FUD. Just fear, uncertainty, and doubt, obviously, as people get a little bit scared. But at the end of the day, it's not really that big a deal. They'll just continue on because we all know it was kind of strange from the get-go anyway. Now, here's the CEO also criticizing the SEC for contradictions on crypto regulations. We can go on with this for a little while, but at the end of the day, you guys probably understand by now, the SEC in the way in which they've done things is not clear. SEC, instead of doing hard work to define a new set of clear rules, a new set of clear regulations, they instead decided to we're going to do regulation through enforcement, which is not efficient and really, I think, has stifled innovation in the US. And this article is kind of contradictory, but yet funny. Just in, the SEC chair recommends one crypto rulebook, and here is why. And to me, it's kind of funny because it's literally the opposite of what they've said for the longest amount of time right now. They've literally gone for, you know what, we can't make one book because they're also not so similar. It's also difficult, and we're waiting. All of a sudden now he's changing it up 180 degrees. Maybe they're feeling the pressure with the Ripple lawsuit, who knows, but it's interesting. Even people at the SEC are standing, I guess, by our side. Rush of radical rulemakings. Hester Peirce criticizes SEC's agenda. Peirce has called for regulatory clarity around certain issues regarding the crypto space as part of the SEC Spring 2022 regulatory agenda, which was released on Wednesday. The SEC commissioner said the newly released SEC agency rule list is full of hot-button topics implemented in an unreasonable hurry while crypto was ignored, which again is really contradictory to Gary Gensler's most recent statements, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The agenda, if enacted, risks setting off the regulatory version of a rip current, fast-moving currents flowing away from the shore that can be fatal to swimmers. The pace and character of the rulemakings on the agenda make for dangerous conditions in our capital markets, and I honestly don't think that it's the best in any way, shape, or form, and I think you guys will all agree with me on that one. Alright guys, but before we move on, I want to quickly tell you guys about the sponsor of this video, Capital.com. Capital.com provides access to over 6,500 of the most popular global markets where you can trade CFDs on stocks, commodities, crypto, forex, and the best part is they have a very simple app. The app and the website have a lot of very positive reviews. And that brings us to the question, why would you use Capital.com? Well, long story short, they're making trading as simple as it can be. They have an award-winning platform, and they've put the priority on being as regulated as needs to be. To put some more emphasis on this, one of the most important points in picking out a platform to trade on is that it is properly regulated. And I honestly think Capital.com takes the cake on this one. Because again, guys, one of the things I value most is that my platform is as safe and I guess easy to use as possible. And Capital.com has both those things. It's very safe and it's very easy to use. If you're new to trading, they also have an actual section on their website that allows you to follow a couple of different courses to actually get into it. So if that sounds like something for you, use the link down below and sign up right now. If you still have any questions, you can check out all the quick links on their website to find basically information on anything that you would ask. But if you can't get out of it, they have 24/7 support as well to make your experience as easy as possible. On a side note, if you're completely new and you don't want to go completely head over heels, you can actually use their demo trading feature. So if you use the link down below to make yourself an account, try out the demo feature first before going fully into it. It's completely free to use and very simple. So go ahead and check it out. And if the actual web version is not something that you like, you can always check out the app. And last but not least, I'll see you guys on there. And I guess I should make one little disclaimer here. Always trade smart. And don't forget about the risks and approach all these financial issues carefully. Alright, moving on though with the crypto news as we have a lot going on. As I already stated earlier, Harmony's network Horizon Bridge hacked, $100 million stolen. A popular product on the Harmony network was exploited for over $100 million worth of crypto last night in what is one of the biggest crypto hacks in recent weeks. Quote, the Harmony team has identified a theft occurring this morning on the Horizon Bridge, amounting to approximately $100 million, developer said in a tweet. Which is kind of funny sometimes, right? In the crypto space, it's like, okay, $100 million got hacked. Let me place a little tweet right now, which I think is kind of ironical. We have begun working with national authorities and forensic specialists to identify the culprit and receive the stolen funds or retrieve. Here's how it went. It worked as follows. As per developer documents, a set of smart contracts were deployed on both Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Harmony blockchains. A pool of validators verifies when users lock liquidity on any of those networks, and when a token lock action is detected on the Ethereum blockchain, the pool of validators validates it and relays the finalized information to the Harmony blockchain. After the same amount of a bridge token is minted on the opposite side, when a bridge token burn is detected on the Harmony blockchain, the pool of validators validates it and relays the finalized information to the Ethereum blockchain where the same amount of the original token is unlocked. The attacker has not so far moved any funds to exchange or privacy swap services like Tornado Cash at the time of writing, Blockchain shows, but it has something to do with this mechanism. A couple other cool things. Coinbase launched first crypto derivatives product in June. I would not use this in any way, shape, or form, but it's cool to see that they're expanding and they've gotten themselves the approval from, I guess, some different instances over in the US, like the CFDs. I think it's just good news. To stay on the topic of Coinbase, I actually just saw this, and this is by far good news. This is actually very bad news. Coinbase to track off-exchange transactions from Dutch customers. Dutch users need to provide their full recipient's name, the purpose of transfer, and full residential address to move digital assets off of the platform, which I think is rather interesting. The Netherlands here is going for a full set of anti-money laundering rules or something of the sort. Earlier this month, Peter Hazekamp, director of the Dutch Bureau for Economic Analysis, called for the Netherlands to ban Bitcoin, and that the country had been lagging behind in trying to curb its crypto hype. Meanwhile, the country's regulators have warned that digital assets are neither suitable as a means of payment nor as a means of investment. And that is actually interesting to me, Even though I don't live in the Netherlands anymore, I moved to Dubai about a year and a half ago, I think by now. It's kind of fun for me to look back at all of this as, I have like a lot of connection with it, I guess, right? I used to live there for a long time. It's just crazy to me how they're not so progressive towards it. I would have expected the Netherlands to be really on top of their game with all this stuff, and it's really, really strange to me that they're not on top of all of it to make money on it. It's really crazy to me. And there's one other cool piece of news, even though I'm not going to personally use this in any way, shape, or form. Solana Labs is building a Web3 mobile phone. I thought about pre-ordering it. I thought about, let me order this thing so I can actually bash it the moment that it comes out. It's a $100 pre-order. I'm not sure how much the phone is going to cost, but I thought, let me buy one or two just to, it says it will cost about $1,000 to make sure I can make a review on that. But then I'm thinking, well, if I really want to make a review, and I want it, to be kind of biased, but then I can still do a review of it though, I could just ask them for a phone. But I'm also thinking, well, then I would buy a phone purely for a review, as I'm probably not going to use it, as I don't even think the idea is actually that amazing. Yeah, I kind of stayed away from it. I was like, you know what? I'll get the phone eventually. We'll see what happens. It says here it will be available in early 2023 anyway. So most likely, we'll see what happens in the meantime. That's all I should guess. Add to it. We'll see what happens. It's an interesting idea. A lot of jokes were made. I even made a joke. Hopefully this thing can stay online, right? We'll just see how things. We'll see how things go over the next couple of months. All right, guys. But that was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, by the way, it's a Web3 focused phone for Solana. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you press the like button, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today. So adios, amigos.